Welcome to the Dr. Stacy Show, where we're talking about all things faith, love, and wellness as it relates to raising our kids. I'm your host, Dr. Stacy, and today I'm excited to have on the show Bianca Frank. Bianca is a nurse educator, PhD nursing student, and children's book author who is passionate about helping children feel confident in how their brains work. As a mother navigating ADHD within her own family, Bianca understands firsthand the questions, the challenges, even the moments of growth that come with raising a neurodivergent child. While she doesn't claim to be an expert, her lived experience as a parent, combined with her background in education, inspired her to co author My Brain is My Superpower. Through storytelling and open conversation, Bianca hopes to encourage children and families to see that neurodiversity is not a limitation, but as a strength. Bianca, so thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So Bianca, listen, I'm excited because I know there are parents that are tuning in just to hear another parent's journey with ADHD. Talk to us a little bit about your daughter and how did you even begin this process of recognizing that something was going on with your daughter?
So currently, my daughter is 13 years old. She's a seventh grader. We first got her diagnosed in the third grade, and by the time she was in third grade, I knew something was going on. Like just from her being at home, phone calls from school, and it was always Kayla won't stay in her seat. She's disruptive. And when they were calling me from school, the stuff they were saying, I wasn't shocked because I was dealing with it at home. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. Finally, I got her diagnosed, and it's kind of one of those I knew, but I needed the confirmation because I couldn't just go to school and say, hey, kid has ADHD. So we
Yeah.
finally got her diagnosed, and it took me a little bit just because I was afraid of the labeling for
Mm.
her. But I was noticing at home she was all over the place, like one task to another, like trying to do seven things at once. And I'm like, you got to slow down, you know? And I was like, okay, as a mom, I don't want to sit on this. And I know that she needs help, but I didn't do my part to get what she needs.
Mm. Well, someone just said thank you for sharing that. I know that because we struggle with that, right?
Mhm.
You nailed it. We're afraid of the label. We're afraid of saying, "Hey, my child is different," and yet you saw her struggling. And nobody likes the phone calls from school. I tease people all the time. I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
My son was my kiddo, where the school would be like, "Miss Haynes, can you?" and I'm like, "Okay." So talk to me a little bit about the process of the diagnosis. How long did it take you? What were your steps in that process as a parent?
So I kept hearing stories about, oh, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. I actually did not start with her pediatrician because as a mom trying to figure it out, I did listen to a lot of people. And at the time, I had a friend who recommended someone to me, and I went to him.
Mhm.
And he made me fill out a questionnaire. I think, was it the Vanderbilt?
Yep, Vanderbilt's very popular. Yep.
So I filled out that one as a parent. Then I had to take three of them to her school.
Mhm. Yeah.
So as I'm filling it out myself, I was like, wow.
Mm.
I mean, every question for the most part. And her teachers filled them out and they were almost similar, identical to mine. So
Yeah.
we did that. He's also the one who gave her an IEP for school, which
Mhm.
even the IEP, well, the IEP to take to school to say, hey, she needs this. I
Yeah.
didn't even give that to them initially. I
Mm.
held on to that for a little bit because I was like, I was scared. I
Yeah.
really was.
Yeah.
But it did not take long because I heard start with her pediatrician or start with the school counselor. I heard stories about it taking months to get an actual diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of looked up in that aspect of like finding someone who was quick to help me. And it was an outside resource besides her pediatrician or the school
Mhm.
who did diagnose her. So for me, it did not take that long at all.
And I love that you're sharing that because I always tell people, even when you find there's a wait list, right? There's people that can help us in the process, right? Even as a therapist, I know I hand out the Vanderbilt, I send it to people because we can't sit and watch our children struggle, right?
Yeah.
Even we're afraid of labels and diagnosis. And here's the thing though, if we have a diagnosis, it opens up doors for intervention and it
Yes.
opens up doors for treatment. Talk to me a little bit about what you have put in place since having now that ADHD diagnosis for your daughter.
What we've put in place first at home is I have gotten her a whiteboard to put on her door because I preach make your own checklist. Like if you know you're going to forget, write it down.
Mm.
And bless her heart, sometimes even writing it down, is still a work in progress. But I'm like, this checklist is for you. It is for us too, because sometimes I will write on her board, this is what you need to do. And she even told me, because here was the thing I found out. To me, I'm like, I'm asking you to do simple things. Okay, clean up your bathroom, clean up the kitchen, do your laundry. Those 3 steps were too much.
I was already a list. Yes.
I didn't know. I'm like, well, I'm telling you to do simple tasks that you know how to do. So she even told me, Mom, can you tell me one thing at a time, or can you make a list and just let me work from the list?
Yes.
Okay. So we have the checklist for her door. I bought her a agenda because they do not give those out in school anymore. And I bought her just like a regular, I'm big on journaling too. I don't think she loves it as much as I do, but I also bought her a journal. Like if you're ever feeling like there's just a lot going on in your mind, just write it down. So that's what we've done at home. And then she's in 7th grade now, and the IEP does follow you. So we moved to Gwinnett County, and I will say this is a lot better IEP wise. We have an IEP for her at school, which I love how they actually call and have update meetings about the IEP. Is there anything that I want to put in place? And they actually follow it. So those, and she is on medication. And she was in therapy for a little bit too. We're not in therapy currently, but she has been in therapy, which was excellent. She had an excellent therapist.
I love that. And one of the things we were talking pre-show about targeting executive skills, and that's really what these interventions do. When we think about the diagnosis, because even the idea, and I love how she said, hey, Mom, can you write it down, right?
Yeah.
Even the idea of having a visual list and a checklist helps with memory, helps with focus, helping us to be able to know. And I always say, parents, stop repeating yourself, right? That's where we get frustrated.
Yeah.
We're going to talk, let's be real for a second. It is frustrating, right?
Yes.
Have a neurodivergent difference, right? Whether that's an adult in your home or a child in your home, to say, hey, listen, we have to put these things in place and these extra steps. And you nailed it. Even the agenda books, elementary, right? We have the agenda books. The schools give them out. By middle school and high school, no, they're like on your own. You have to figure it out. And then we have the teachers saying things like, well, they're not organized. And I'm like, but that's the symptom of the diagnosis, difficulty with organization, right?
Yes.
How does the IEP, give me an example of a couple of strategies or accommodations they actually have on our IEP?
For her, we do have extra time on testing, and that was not initially on there. But I noticed we went through a period of time where I would look at her grades and I'm like, well, you have a missing grade because it says you didn't do your test. She's like, oh, I just didn't finish. And I'm like, in 3 of your classes? She was like, yeah. She was like, I don't know. I just couldn't finish. So I had to go back in and say, hey, can she have extra time on testing? So she does get an additional, I think 30 minutes for a test. They told me that when she needs breaks, she is allotted break times. All she has to do is raise her hand and say, I need a minute. Yes. They will walk to the water fountain because it's a distance from her classroom. So if you need a break, here's your break. She is allowed constant contact with her counselor at school. They have a specific 7th grade counselor, and she's awesome too. So if she ever says, hey, can I go talk to the counselor? They don't question it. They let her go. We've talked about finding a safe space or person rather at school who she can confide in. And if she needs that person, she can go talk to them. Also for her, she helps out a lot in class because too much idle time is not her jam. So she has a lot of tasks in class. And for my sweet child, she needs to sit in the front. And I had to let them know, do not put her in the back of a classroom. If that means you have to put her at your desk, connect them.
Right.
Please.
Exactly. No, but see, and I love the idea, and I always tell people an IEP has to change with the child, right? It's like you said, every year you're evaluating that document. We're talking about it. Folks, we have a whole show on the IEP and 504s with a school counselor. You can listen to that show for more on IEPs and 504s. But you're right to say, these are the things that my child, it's individual. It's not blanket. This is what all kids with ADHD need. It's what does my specific child need, and being able to have that conversation with the school. I love that. And the fact that you're putting things in place. So I always tell people executive skills are at home too.
Yes.
And so if we have an IEP in school, we also need to have accommodations at home. And
Yeah,
parents struggle. We struggle with bedtime. We struggle with chores. We struggle with homework time. So even that same amount of extra time that we do in school or instructions and directions, we also have to do that at homework
I
time
agree.
so that our child's successful. So you took this love and again, a new understanding of your daughter, right? And neurodiversity and differences, and you said, let me do something creative with this. You create
Yes.
a children's book, which My Brain is My Superpower. Tell us a little bit. I love even how you're telling me earlier how your mom kind of nudged you, but tell us about the journey of your book.
So I've always had a dream to write a children's book. And like I told you before, I had wrote one. It's been about 2 years now, and I completely deleted the manuscript because I was like, I just didn't feel ready. So this time I told my mom, I was like, hey, I want to write a book, and I want the book to be about a child using their brain as like a superpower. Like they have these different modes in their brain, and they just have to learn how to make it essentially work for them. So I said, I started with saying, I know I want it to be about a brain and a superpower, like they have to connect.
Mm.
So I came up with these different modes for the book. It was turbo mode, zoom mode, and rainbow mode for the child's brain. And we just kind of took off. And at first I was like, I want it to be about a neurodivergent kid, but I want it to be centered around ADHD without saying, hey, your kid has ADHD. But if you read it, like if you read
Right.
the description, you kind of understand. So,
Uh-huh.
and yes, it was inspired by my daughter. And I came up with the idea too, because I found myself as a parent saying, ooh, girl, you're doing too much. Like
Mm.
simmer down. So she told me, she was like, I don't like when you say I'm being extra. I was
Wow.
like, oh, I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't know because like just off the top of your head, like you're being extra, like calm down, you're doing a lot. So I was like, that's turbo mode for
Mm.
her. You just bouncing off the wall, you're just doing a lot. But I'm like, for her, if you keep her active, she's super creative. If you give her something creative to do, she thrives.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she plays a lot of sports too because she can't do idle time. But that is where the idea came from, is like, okay, my daughter is sweet, but yes, sometimes she can go from 0 to like 100 fast, and not even in a negative way. Like she'll come to me and ask me 7 questions at one time, and I'm like, wait a minute, let's calm down.
Yeah.
But I think I wanted the book to be about a child knowing I'm not too much, I'm not too loud, my feelings are not too big, but
Yes.
I'm powerful. Like I do have a lot of things going on in my brain, but I can channel it and I can be fun. I can organize a task, even if that means I need a little help, but I can be creative in a sense. So I wanted a child to feel seen. Like if
Mhm.
you feel like your feelings are large, think about it as a rainbow. There are different colors for every feeling that you may have. What are you feeling right now? Are you feeling blue because you're a little sad? Are you feeling purple because you're calm? Are you feeling red because you may be a little angry? So that was my little passion in my book. I'm really excited about it. And I just said, if this book touched one kid, one family, one parent,
Yeah.
because it's a fun read, but also, even when I read it again, I was like, I don't know, sometimes I'd be in turbo mode too as an adult. Like, I just wanted it one kid to be like, oh, mom, hey, this is me. Like, this is the mode I'm feeling right now. What
Yeah.
can we do with it?
Yes. And I love that you said I wanted to be intentional with showing them that it's okay to be built and designed the way you are, right? I'm
Yes,
really big advocate in us teaching. Yes, we have to understand the diagnosis because it gets us treatment, it gets us intervention. But for the child to always walk around like I'm a diagnosis, we don't want that either for our children, right? We
right.
want them to understand that, you know what? Yeah, turbo mode is good when you got to get things done. Listen,
Yeah,
turbo mode is a strength. I always tease people, I'm like, listen, there are strengths in all of it, even that
it is.
creativity piece
Mhm.
that you hinted on there, because many of our neurodivergent children, I find when I talk to them about what's the parts they like art, they like recess, they like music, they like the moments when they can write, but it's what they would like to write about, not
Yeah,
what they're being told to write about, right?
yeah,
Or one thing we were talking pre-show about the seasons and the differences. And tell me a little bit about, now that your daughter's in preteen, right? What does that
Mhm.
look like, or teenage years? What does that kind of look like with managing ADHD, and maybe again helping parents to kind of navigate, because our girls are definitely different than our boys, even when it comes
Yes.
to ADHD.
So I will be honest and say it got harder as she got older
Yeah.
because now at 13, she's full of life. She has a lot of friends and she's a people person, yes.
Mhm.
But I thought we instilled organization once we like found out she was diagnosed.
Mhm.
And sometimes she just misses the mark. And I'm like, hey, you have homework. Oh,
Mhm.
it's always like, oh, yeah. I'm like, how do you forget that? You've been at school all day.
Mhm.
And I tell her all the time, I know you don't want to hear it, but I'm going to say it. I always start stuff like that.
Mhm.
I said, here's your debrief. Take a 30-minute debrief. You need to sit down and do your homework. So while I thought her whiteboard is helpful, I will say, but sometimes she just forgets every tool we've ever given her. So
Mhm.
it's a constant redirection. And it was interesting when you said we get frustrated with repeating ourselves. And I've had moments where I'm in tears, like, am I messing up? Because I
Mhm.
keep telling her the same thing over and over and over again. So I will tell her, like, okay, let's slow down and let's make a schedule together.
Mhm.
Let's do that. Like, stop what you're doing. Let's write down like 3 tasks that you need to do today.
Yes.
Fine, mom. I'll do it with you. I will write down 3 tasks that I need to do. So for her now, I try to make everything like a partnership in a sense.
Mhm.
Like if you're making a checklist, I'm making a checklist. If
Mhm.
you're scheduling your day, I'm scheduling my day.
Yes.
And all the time, like it's a lot of don't forget, don't forget. And she'll get upset, like, you don't have to keep reminding me.
Mm.
Yes, I do. Because if I don't,
Yes.
you won't do anything.
Yeah.
So I will say it is, I think in my mind, I thought, okay, third grade to now, we're going
Mm.
to get over this hump. And I honestly did think like she'll, I don't know, grow out of it or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. So
Yeah.
every day is still a journey. And some days I can see where she's really, really putting her best foot forward because she'll even ask me, Mom, did you notice I cleaned up the kitchen without you asking?
Mhm.
Or did you notice I cleaned up my room without you having to ask me? I'm like, yeah, I did. So I also think for her, affirmations and praise are big too. And I had to learn to be okay with that because in my mind, I'm like, well, you're doing stuff you're supposed to do. But
Mm.
I noticed for her, she needed that. So we are still working through being more organized. And sometimes she will come to me and help and ask for help, like, okay, I need to clean my room. I want to bake cookies. And remember, you said you take me to the store. So what should I do first? So
Mm.
when she does that, I love it. I'm like, okay, you're wanting to help and you're trying to think through what needs to be done, like essentially in a level of importance for her. So,
Mhm.
and I also, she's 13.
Yeah.
Do I think she's going to have it all together? I used to think that. I really did. But she's still a child, you
Yeah.
know? Um, I can see the progression. Some days are harder than others.
Mm.
Some days we're crying together, I will say. But I will say I can see her growth
Mm.
from third grade to now. I can see the growth, but yes, we do still struggle a little bit.
And Bianca, thank you for that transparency, because that is the part that I believe a lot of people think, I get the IEP, I get the medication, I get the therapy,
Mhm.
great, they're going to be fixed. We're talking about a lifelong diagnosis, right? This is a developmental condition. This is not something where, right, we put those things in place to aid and support, but even as you shared the tears and coming together, that's actually what our children need, right? They
Yeah,
need compassion. They need us to understand that, you know what? No, just because I'm 13 from a chronological age, I might be 10 from a developmental
right,
and emotional. And
right.
sometimes they're on the floor crying because they also feel that they just want to be better and do better, and they're struggling. And so for
Mhm.
you to come alongside of her like that, I love that. And parents, please listen, because that is what our babies need. They need us to understand that they are trying. Um,
Yeah.
and that it is going to be, I mean, I work with college age kids who are still struggling with organization, structure. I'm like, pull out that syllabus, just like you said, write in that list. I'm like, all right, let's put it in a planner so that you know when your assignments are due. And the I forgot. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm like every day.
every listen, every day, right? Really say that again. Every parents, you heard Bianca say as a mom every day. Yes. And so that, we and giving ourselves grace as parents that we're gonna have to also wake up every day with new grace, right?
Absolutely.
To parent because it is a journey and you are learning, and every day there's opportunities. And I love how you said even just listening to her and what she needs, and the moments when she's just needing help to organize it, even though she kind of knows what to do, she
Mhm.
needs you saying, hey, let's do this together. And
Yeah.
that's really really huge. I love that you're saying she's thriving though, right? Like we're engaged, we're in sports, we're in activities. Again, typical 13-year-old stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing, I think parents of like a 3-year-old right now who just got the diagnosis, or a 5-year-old, they're struggling to see hope. And Bianca, I love that you're saying, hey, we don't look like what we did in third grade,
Yeah.
but there's hope to even say, hey, listen, there are going to be great moments that look like every other typical kid too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is also key. And then you're also doing something around executive functioning now, though, even with your nurse education program and your dissertation. Tell us a little bit about your hopes and what you hope to be able to investigate, even with your dissertation.
So I started school for my doctoral program 8 months ago in August. And what's been on my heart is executive functioning and ADHD in nursing students. So
Hmm.
I've had this one thought, and I pray I can take it where I want it to go.
Yeah.
Um, if my topic gets approved, what I would like to see in the future once I finish my program. Right now, I'm looking at the gap in literature. So I actually did a residency last week, and one of my peers were telling me maybe the gap in literature is that there is no literature about ADHD and executive functioning in nursing students.
Wow.
So what I would like to do is hopefully do curriculum building, because I
Mm.
think even in college, having a bachelor's, master's, and now going into a doctoral program, there is a curriculum. And I will even say in elementary, middle, and high school, there is essentially a curriculum where it's one size fits all. You
Yes.
go to school, everyone follows this curriculum, everyone has essentially the same kind of schedule.
Hmm.
Why not make a curriculum specifically for maybe neurodivergent children or neurodivergent adults? There are a lot of adults I've noticed who are getting diagnosed in their 20s and up. So they're just not, well, they probably have had it and didn't know, but I think that's a generational thing. Our parents didn't know.
Absolutely.
So they didn't know what to do. So
Hmm.
now that it's a topic that is also more discussed and we're not shy about it anymore, people are wanting to know, okay, I feel this way. I can't focus. I'm struggling at work. What can I do? I'm struggling in school.
Yes.
So I would like to do curriculum building in the future and explore. Let's not have this one curriculum. I
Hmm.
will say that also takes people exposing, hey, I have ADHD. Some people are too afraid to say it. Even as adults, once they find out, they don't say anything in the workplace or in school. So
Hmm.
that has to also be a safe space where they're open to sharing. I have ADHD and I may need a little extra help. I need a little extra time when I'm doing my work, or can you help me get organized through this class?
Hmm.
And I also think it takes a special type of training for educators to say, or educators to be willing. I have a group of students where a third of my students are neurodivergent, the other ones are not. How can we make it work together?
Yes.
Maybe have something in place for that one third of students. It's okay. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the schools have to be willing to take that step and take the time. So my heart has been in curriculum building or redesigning once I finish my doctoral program, specifically in nursing schools. Because when I got my master's, I did my clinical at a nursing school, and just watching some of those students like sit through class, just I would sit in the back and just observing them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, they need a break
Yeah,
or they need to stand up.
that
They,
part.
they are about to
Yeah.
lose it,
And
but
there
no one is noticing.
Yeah. And that's what's key. And they're adult learners. And yet we
Mhm.
don't do that for our children as they're learning, right?
Right.
To say, yeah, there's something. And So I'll tell you what they told us, right? Get through your dissertation and then go save the world, right? So I love that
Yes.
we're talking about curriculum, because you're spot on. Even with the statistics, we're now going to see in the next couple of years, 1/3 of that general education classroom will have a diagnosis of neurodivergency, right? So again, you're spot on to where we see the diagnosis going, and where the need is going to be is that educational piece. I remember,
Absolutely.
teachers that let my daughter sit on the floor, and I was just grateful, because I was like, they didn't make her sit in a seat because she couldn't, and she needed to be on the cold floor, and that's where she learned the best. And just being, even now as a fashion
Yes.
student, she does her homework everywhere, right? Like, COVID taught us they could do it in their bed just as much as
Hmm.
they could do it in a seat in a classroom.
I
Um,
was just telling my mom yesterday, I said,
mhm,
if I could ever create my own classroom, I don't even think I'd have desk.
yep.
I would have like beanbag chairs.
Yep.
I
Mhm.
said, because I think for me, I don't want to sit at a desk all
Mhm.
day. When
Yes.
Kaylin is home, she likes to sit in her room sometimes on the floor, or if she's at the table, she won't actually sit in the seat. Like
Mhm.
she'll lean over the table. She's like, I just don't want to sit.
Yes.
Okay, fine. If you get your work
Mhm.
done better standing up or sitting in a beanbag or taking
Yeah.
your socks off, do whatever you need to do. But I'm like, if I could ever create a classroom of my own, it would be the most untraditional classroom setting ever.
Yes, and differentiated seating, and that's what they call it too, right? You can have beanbag chairs, you can have high
Hmm.
tops, low tops, different tables, even kids on clipboards. I've seen classrooms where teachers have done right some amazing things, even with the environment, because as parents, we sit them at the kitchen table, right, to do
Yes.
homework. And sometimes that's the most distracting place in the whole house.
Yeah.
You got smells, TV going, people talking, phones ringing. Like, the kitchen table is not the quietest place anymore to
Yeah.
work when someone needs to focus. And so, Bianca, as we kind of wrap up today, and this has been great conversation, what would be your one maybe tip or advice or nugget to a parent that's parenting that ADHD child?
My one tip or advice would be there is light at the end of the tunnel. And what I mean by that is every day is not easy. I still say all the time, every day is a journey. Sometimes I wake up and I'm not sure what version of my child I'm going to get. I
Mm,
don't know until I walk in and say, hey, good morning. Not sure. But I think as a parent, if we give our children affirmations, also being vulnerable with our kids, like I will tell her, hey, some days, today is hard. I see today you had a rough day. What's
mm,
going on? That vulnerability, talking to them and letting them know you are not doing too much. I think we sometimes have to change our verbiage to our children,
yes.
because I've also heard her say sometimes, oh, my mom thinks I'm extra. And I'm like, oh, stop saying that. But
Mm,
like changing the verbiage to your child and letting them know I am here to support you. I'm here to help you. If you need help being organized, let me help you. You want to go to Marshall's and pick out the cutest journal you could ever find and a whole bunch of pens because that's what you need. Let's do it. So
yeah.
I think just always maintaining that support system for them and just loving on them, there it gets better. It does get better. So
I love
that I say all that to say, never give up on your kid, no matter what the diagnosis is, because
it.
they need us.
Absolutely. I love it. All right. So here we go. Bianca, we are in the fun part of my show. It's called the
Okay.
Laffy Taffy Moment Joke of the Day. So Proverbs 17:22 says, a joyful heart is good medicine. So you ready for your Laffy Taffy joke?
Hmm.
Okay. Why did the digital clock, I'm sorry, no, what did the digital clock say to its mom? What did the digital clock say to its mom?
What did the digital clock say to its mom?
Mm-hmm.
What's ticking?
Oh, that's good. I like that. That's good. Not the answer, but that's cute. I like it. Okay. He said, look, mom, no hands.
That's funny.
All right, dear. So, Bianca, tell our families how they can get in touch with you, how they can get your book. Let them know where to find um, My Brain is My Superpower.
You can get My Brain is My Superpower. It's on a website called getmynewbook.com. And if you search My Brain is My Superpower, the book will come up. There's also a coupon code. It's BF10 off that you can use when you go on the website. And also my Instagram is underscore, I might mess this one up because I don't remember it. It's underscore B as in boy, EE, Frank with two Ks underscore.
We're going to link that anyway on the show.
Yes.
We'll get you. We'll get you. No worries. All right, dear. Thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
so much for having me.
All right, folks, before we go, we have our Love Our Babies Well segment. As we've heard Bianca share about understanding and appreciating our children and their differences, one thing I think about that we heard Bianca say is even our kind words when our kids are maybe in turbo mode, and being mindful of the impact that we make on their mental health and well-being by the things that we say, by the things that we recognize, and even by the little things that we do to help them to be successful. Parents, our job is not over just because we have plans in place and interventions. We continue to support them through every stage of development in their lives. And parents, what's most important is to let them know that they are loved just the way they're built, they're designed, and they have purpose. Thanks so much for tuning in today to the Dr. Stacy Show. Until next time, keep the faith, love the babies, and pursue wellness.
Thank you.